Both Dallas and Collin County have just as many pending sales today as they did back in the summer. And as you know, the summer is typically the hottest time for the real estate market. Mortgage rates have gone from 6.2% at the beginning of the month to nearly 7% here at the end of the month. Yet, according to last week's new home sales report, new construction home sales are still continuing to rise and are up 6.3% from last year. And that's the total opposite of existing home sales. And the obvious reason for that is that new construction can offer much lower mortgage rates. Housing inventory saw a decline last week. The number of homes that are under contract currently are much higher than both of the previous 2 years. So housing sales are finally growing. However, thanks to these rising mortgage rates, we did see a big drop in the number of people applying for mortgages last week. We're covering all this and much more in this week's market update. My name is Michael. I'm a real estate agent here in the Dallas area, and every Monday I give you a weekly update covering all of Dallas and Collin counties as well as the national market. We're looking for trends. We're tracking mortgage rates as well as mortgage purchase applications, as that's our best leading indicator to what demand will look like 30 to 90 days from now. We're looking at things like median list price, days on market, how many homes are having price decreases, what's inventory looking like, and if you stick around until the end, it's my favorite part, the top 10 ranked hottest and coolest cities and zip codes in all of Dallas and Collin counties. If this sounds like something you're into, make sure and hit the subscribe button. And if you're looking to buy or sell in the Dallas area, whether it's next week or next year, I'd love to connect. I've helped every one of these yellow dots find their little piece of Texas, and I'd love to help you too. Just call, text, or shoot me an email. All that is in the description below. Okay, today is October 28th. Let's see what the data is telling us. And if this is an old video, you can click the playlist here and it'll take you to the latest weekly market update. First up is market news, starting with the new home sales report for September, straight from the Census Bureau. New construction sales continue to outpace the sale of existing homes. Last month we had 738,000 sales, which is 4.1% higher than the previous month of August and 6.3% higher than last year. Median sales price is almost exactly where it was a year ago, which is this dot here. I think it's actually like $200 higher now than it was last year, so it's almost the exact same. As you'll see, inventory is still increasing, but the number that actually matters would be the month's supply. And the month's supply just means at the current pace of sales, if we built no more houses, how long would it take us to sell out of houses? And you can see month's supply has been trending down, and right now we're at 7.6 months, which will sound high if you're used to looking at pre-existing sales data, because pre-existing homes are down in the maybe 4.2 months supply. But this is because in new construction, you also track the backlog of future homes to be built. So in reality, only 1.8 months of that supply are actual completed homes on the market, which equates to about 108,000 homes in the country right now. Then we've got another 258,000 homes under construction, which equates to the next 4.2 months of supply. And then 104,000 homes that haven't even started construction, which is another 1.7 months supply, which that is close to all-time highs. So the backlog that they're not starting right now, that's close to all-time highs, which is also why builders are not pulling new permits like we discussed last week. They're not going to keep building those houses until mortgage rates come down and they know the demand is going to be there when these houses are completed. But I believe mortgage rates will be coming down much closer to 6% very soon, just as they were a couple weeks ago. And if that happens, all of this data changes. It was very obvious when rates got down to 6.2, buyers were coming into the market. So if they come back down close to 6%, all of this can change very quickly. And of course, as you know, home builders have been offering rates from 3.99 to 4.99%, which is saving these home buyers hundreds of dollars on their monthly payment. Even on a $400K house, a 3.99% right now versus the market rates would save you literally $600 a month. I don't think a lot of people realize this. $600 a month is what you save by taking these low rates from the builders. And then on top of that, many of these builders will also pay your closing costs, which is going to be around another $10K. So you're saving $10,000 plus $600 a month, and that's only on a $400K house. So the affordability of new construction is in a league entirely of its own if you're willing to drive 30 minutes further out. Then quickly, let's look at the existing home sales. So these actually fell 1% month over month. That's right here. This is a 1% drop. And as you can see, we're basically just hovering back at the bottom of where we've been. Existing home sales, these are not going to pick up until mortgage rates get below 6%. So they're down 1% month over month and 3.5% year over year, with a 4.3 month supply and 23% more inventory than last year. You can see inventory is rising. This is actually a good thing. We actually need a lot more inventory than this to get back to a normal market. In other words, we don't want rates to get down below 6% and inventory to still be down here. So this is a good sign. This needs to happen before rates drop. Also, the median sales price here is up 3% from last year. And some people will tell you, because this number is coming down quickly, that this is the start of a housing crash. But as you can see, anyone who can look at a chart and understand seasonality knows this is totally normal. We come down until January, and then we go up, and then we come down until January. And this happens every single year, so don't let anyone tell you that this is a housing crash. So that's what's going on with existing sales. And then lastly, since nobody responded last week when I asked what kind of other videos do you want to see outside of the weekly update, I went ahead and made a neighborhood tour. And this is one of my favorite neighborhoods in Dallas. It's located in East Dallas. It's on the west shores of White Rock Lake. It's full of beautiful and historic homes. And even if you're a local, I had several of my friends actually watch this video, and they told me I had no idea that neighborhood was this beautiful. Because unless you actually live in there, there's no reason you'd ever really drive through it. So there are a lot of people who live here who have no idea how great this neighborhood is. So even if you just like seeing some really beautiful houses, make sure to watch this video next. Okay, moving on, starting with national housing inventory. This week we had a decrease of 1,437 homes for sale in the country. And even if this week isn't the peak of inventory, it's clear that inventory growth is stalling out and we're very close to the top. And this gets us down to just 32% more inventory than we had last year, which back here we had been closer to 37% more. We were there for a while. So this gets us to 737,997 homes for sale available in the country. And this same week last year, inventory was only at 562,556. So still much better than last year. Then for reference, the all-time inventory bottom of 2022, we only had 240,000 homes for sale. The peak of last year, we had 570,000 for sale. And this same week in 2015, we had about 1.169 million homes for sale. Now looking at new listings, this week we had 60,158 new listings in the US. We did have a tiny decline this week. You can't even really see it. But the great news is we still have more new listings than we had either of the previous 2 years. As you can see, a lot of the year we were right in the middle of 22 and 23, which that was really bad because obviously we need more people listing to get more inventory to get to a normal market. So we finally broke out of that. This happened when rates dropped. We broke out and we have stayed on top. And if I were a betting man, I would say we're probably just going to trend out right above these previous 2 years for the rest of the year. But this is a good thing. More people are listing their houses. Now looking at pending sales, last week we finally broke out in a big way beyond that 2022 line. As you can see, we were barely above 2023 most of the year, nowhere near 2022's pending numbers until just now last week we broke out. And this week we did have a tiny decline, but overall we still have 11.4% more homes under contract than last year. So again, you can just see home sales are growing over the previous 2 years. But you also have to consider the context because this time in both of the previous 2 years, mortgage rates were literally at I believe 8%. So right now, mortgage rates are actually about 1% lower than this time last year. So it makes perfect sense that we would have more pending sales now. But you see this dark red line, that was last year. We are way above last year's numbers. We have 356,127 homes under contract in the country. Then the last thing we cover nationally is the percentage of homes having a price cut. Every year it's normal for a third of homes to take a price cut before selling, and looking at the national chart, we remained pretty much flat this week. Yeah, exactly flat. We're still at 39.5% of homes had a price cut this week. Last year we got as high as 39.2%, the year before as high as 43.2%, and you can see in the last 2 years, all of this time period, we should have still been climbing, but instead, because rates started coming down, we've basically been flat for months. And actually, as of this week, we are 3.4% below that 2022 line. But it's normal for this number to be increasing this time of the year for several more weeks, but it's not. It's just been flat. But if it were to go up, that would be totally normal. Okay, moving on to mortgage rates. We started the week at a 6.82. We got all the way up to a 6.92, and we ended at a 6.9. But the good news is we're still 1.08% better than we were a year ago. Rates were a 7.98 this time last year. That is hard to believe. Then regarding mortgage purchase applications, this is the number of people applying for mortgages. Of course, rates went up. This is also seasonality. You can see it's normal for us to be going down here. but on top of that, rates have gone up significantly the last couple weeks. But we actually had a 5% decrease week over week, which puts us to just 3% higher year over year. So we're still up. More people are applying than last year, but down 5% from last week. And only 3% more are applying. So it's not a ton. But of course, you know, because I've been saying it all year, there is not going to be any real growth in the people applying for mortgages until mortgage rates get at or below a 6% rate for a sustained period of time. That's where the demand is. That's where home builders are offering. So don't expect this to grow until we're back down under 6%. Okay, moving on to the local markets, starting with the MLS data of Dallas County. In the last week, we had 521 new listings. That's 4 less than last week. 300 closings. That's 41 more than last week. And this is starting to reflect when rates were lower. So they contracted then, we're having more closings now. Of the homes that closed, 51 were immediate sales, meaning they contracted within the first week. That's 7 more than last week. 271 went under contract. That's 2 more than last week. In total, there are 2,083 homes either under contract or pending. That's 36 less than last week. Then looking at Collin County, we had 353 new listings. That's 24 less than last week. 236 closings, 45 more than last week. 32 immediate sales, 1 more than last week. 165 went under contract, 15 less than last week. In total, there are 1,848 homes either under contract or pending in Collin County. That's 11 less than last week. Okay, let's move on to the Market Action Index, starting with Dallas County. If you've never seen this, it just takes into account all this data, puts it into one easy-to-read graphic with a number. Dallas County is at a 37, which is a slight seller's advantage. Everything a 30 or below would be a buyer's market. 30 or above, we're asking how much of a seller's market are we in. So the median list price saw another small drop this week, and what you need to know is normal would be we're cooling off from here all the way until January. So everything should be slowing down and cooling off. And that's all we're trying to find out is, are things looking normal? So we had a small decrease in the median list price. That would be normal. We had a big jump in the median price of new listings. That's not normal. But we never look at 1 week data. We're only looking for trends. And as you can see, median list price has really just been in a range. So you would say that's going sideways. The overall median list price, though, has broken down from the range that it was in, at least this week. But again, it could jump right back up next week. So we need to wait to see the trend. Average days on market is still trending up, 87, it's up 1. It goes up about 1 every week. That's how it's been for a while, but median finally moved up this week from 56 up to 63. Number of homes having price decrease, you can see that line is just totally flat. It's been flat for months. Number of homes relisted, this is still a very high number. A lot of people who had listed before are listing again, thinking that rates are lower now, more people are gonna come out. People listing homes is a good thing, which leads to more inventory. You can see we have just a slow trend up in inventory. That's a good thing. And it's also normal for this time of year. And overall, the Market Action Index has just been at 37 for more than a month. Just right about 37, but it should be cooling off from now all the way to January. Then looking at Collin County, which is a 36, slight seller's advantage, so it's just 1 cooler than Dallas County. Their median list price as well is having a nice slow trend down. Their price of new listings has been, it's not at the bottom, it's going pretty sideways. Average days on market had an increase of 2 this week, but again, a nice slow steady trend up. Median days has been holding at 63 for a couple weeks now. Number of homes having a price decrease, you'll notice they're already significantly higher than Dallas, but they actually have been coming down. So they peaked a while ago, and they've been having less and less every week. They also have a high number of people relisting, not as high as Dallas, but they're at 8%. Inventory, their inventory has been much more flat than Dallas, but they have a ton more new construction, so they're able to regulate their inventory better. Like builders aren't gonna release new homes until they have a good pace of sales on their existing homes. So their inventory is able to stay much more flat. And then of course their market action, it's been lower. It was lower on October 4th, so it's just been going pretty sideways around 36. Okay, moving on to local pending sales. Look at this. So Dallas County has 1,839 pending sales. Look at the previous 2 years, 1,530 and 1,454. We are way higher, and this is the same amount of sales that we were having in August, which is typically a much hotter time of the year for real estate. But then you look at Collin County, and what in the world is happening here? This line is still going up. It's still going up, and we're going to be in November in a couple of days. Obviously, just look at the previous 2 years. We definitely should be going down at this point of the year. And we're higher, let's see, 1730. That has not happened until 1730 right here. June 7th is the last time Collin County had this many pending sales. That is not normal. Look at all this time we spent below that many pending sales. Now we're moving on to the top 10 ranked hottest and coolest cities and zip codes in all of Dallas and Collin County. These are ranked using the same market action index. Remember, a 30 or below is a buyer's market. We're starting with the hottest cities. So Carrollton heats up back to the number 1 spot. It heated up 1 spot. Coppell heats up 3 for the number 2 spot. Saxe heats up 3 for number 3. And then beyond that, Grand Prairie cools off 1. Richardson heats up 3. Balch Springs cools off 5. Irving heats up 2, Lancaster cools off 4, Louisville heats up 1, and Allen jumps onto the list, and then Ferris goes from number 7 off the list. Then we zoom into specific zip codes. The absolute hottest is Hutchins, Texas, and I don't even know where that is, but they're at a 50.41. That is a very hot market. Followed by Carrollton 75010, then Allen 75013, Dallas 75244, Carrollton 75007, Grand Prairie 75052. Dallas 75234, Dallas 75236, Garland 75041, and Dallas 75287. So if you own a home in one of these zip codes, you are in one of the hottest markets in all of Dallas and Collin counties. Now we're doing the same thing, but for the coolest markets. So the absolute coolest is Blue Ridge, Texas at a 25.99. Remember, at 30 or below, so everything below Van Alstyne is going to be officially a buyer's market. So Blue Ridge is the coolest. Wilmer cools off 7 spots. I don't even know where Wilmer is, but they had a big cooling off this week. Whitewright cools off 2 spots. Sunnyvale heats up 2. Van Alstyne heats up 1. Leonard heats up 3. Salina remains. DeSoto jumps onto the list at number 8. It was not on last week. Rockwall cools off 1, and Prosper heats up 1 to take the hottest city spot on the coolest cities list. Then zooming into zip codes, the absolute coolest, Blue Ridge 75424, then Wilmer 75172, Whitewright 75491, Dallas 75204, Sunnyvale 75182, Van Alstyne 75495, Rockwall 75032, Leonard 75452, Dallas 75219, and Dallas 75212. And remember, even on this list, everything above Van Alstyne, those are buyer's markets. Remember, if you're looking to buy or sell in the Dallas area, whether it's next week or next year, I'd love to connect. Just call, text, or shoot me an email. All that is in the description below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.